Good evening, everyone. We're glad to have you all with us this evening. For those who haven't ever been to this program, we call it a StepUp Concert every year. It's an opportunity for the 8th grade band students to spend a day playing with the high school band students and get a sense, kind of a realistic sense of what that might be like. And so we had a rehearsal. Actually, we had a rehearsal a month ago at Ahern. And then we had another rehearsal this afternoon with the combined bands. We barely fit on the stage, which is kind of a good problem. But and then tonight, we're going to have the 8th grade band play a piece for us. Then the high school band will play a bit for us. And then we'll conclude by playing together. And I think that experience hopefully will be meaningful for the students and also for you. And along the way, I'll talk briefly about the band program and what it consists of and who's in it and why and those kind of things. But in spite of all those things, the music is still the most important thing, we think. And so let's listen to some music to begin with. So I understand they're playing, the 8th grade band is playing Call the Mountain King, a masterwork actually. And so would you welcome them and their conductor, Mr. Albro. So at Foxboro High School, the band, which is just a little over 80 students, meets first period every day. It's a scheduled class. And because we have first period frozen in our rotation, band, choir, and orchestra actually meet that period. We're able to share faculty, music faculty, with the middle school. And Mr. Albro and Ms. Greenleaf are here every day working with the band and the orchestra students and to try and help them succeed. By the time we add the band, choir, and orchestra students together, we have like 160, 70 students. So the availability of 5 music teachers for that period makes good sense. That's a pretty decent student-teacher ratio that would be less decent if there were only 3 teachers. And the students get the benefit of working with a variety of teachers. So we're going to begin with Miss Greenleaf conducting the band in a march. We study a lot of marches, American marches and European marches. This is British. Ralph Vaughan Williams, one of the premier composers of the 20th century, has written a piece called the Folk Song Suite, which has 3 movements. We're just going to do the first movement, which is a march called 17 Come Sunday, an old folk song. And it's just what you think it is. She's 17 and she's going to get married on Sunday. And that's the old story, the old folk song story that Vaughan Williams has set for Wind Band. So welcome Miss Greenleaf and the Foxboro High School Concert Band. October, we invited the 8th grade band to join us at a football game, you might recall. And they got a chance to watch the band perform their halftime show and then sit in the stands with the band and play some of the fight songs and so forth, so they could get a chance to see what that experience might be like. All of these students are the Foxboro High School Marching Band. The marching band and the concert band are the same band. The marching band is our curriculum for the month of September. We do a one-week band camp in August where we learn our halftime show. We work really hard that week so that when school starts, we don't need to spend a lot of outside of school time rehearsing the marching band. We rehearse first period, just like I told you, and for the month of September, we work on our marching band show and other things connected to it. We do one Tuesday night rehearsal on the game field at Ahern, 2.5 hours on Tuesday nights for 5 weeks, the month of September, basically. And that is the extent of our rehearsing. In order to be a good marching band, and we think we are, we have to be very efficient. But fortunately, we have a lot of good players, and they can learn to march and learn their marching responsibilities because they play their instruments at a pretty high level. So this group, the concert band, begins in the beginning of October and continues as a concert band for the rest of the school year. So clearly the core curriculum of band is concert band. We are a marching band, but that is a 1-month part of what we do. How many, I'm curious, have had a chance to see our marching band perform? Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. And unlike some high schools that do marching band contests and things like that, we don't do that. Our only performances are those home football games. In spite of that being said, we have a very competitive marching band. It would be very competitive if we chose to compete, which we don't choose to do. It's good, though, and it's modeled more after a collegiate marching band. You see the cheering and the rah-rah that we do, the spirit that we bring to football games. We're proud of that, and the community over the years has been extremely responsive and supportive of what we do as a marching band. They really appreciate what we do. All right, let's get back to the concert band. By the way, how many of you played a different instrument in marching band than you're playing now? And that's because some of the woodwind players double on saxophone or percussion. The tubists play sousaphone. The French horn players play mellophones, which is a related instrument. The percussion play a lot of different marching percussion instruments. So it's actually a great opportunity for students to experience that opportunity to perhaps play another instrument, because the sound that a marching band needs is a totally different concept of sound than the sound you just heard, which is more of an orchestral sound or a concert wind band sound. And I'll give you a better example of that right now. This is Irish Tune from County Derry, Oh Danny Boy, arranged by Percy Granger, arguably one of the best arrangers of the 20th century. And this, I think, gives anyone who listens an example of the beauty, the potential beauty of the wind band sound. At its best, it's gorgeous. And hopefully this will be at its best. So let's meet these students. If you're a freshman, would you stand up? Thank you. If you're a sophomore. If you're a junior. And if you're a senior. Okay? This concert band is divided part of the year into two graduated concert bands, the Wind Ensemble and the Symphonic Winds. And in fact, this Thursday night, we have a concert, our Winterfest concert, featuring the two separate bands divided in half. How many of you, if you're in the Symphonic Winds, would you stand up? Thank you. And if you're in the Wind Ensemble, would you stand up? So generally speaking, thank you, the Wind Ensemble is made up of our more experienced players, and they're playing more difficult music. The pieces we're playing for you right now as a concert band would be graded level 5 in the music system of grading difficulty, 1 through 6. 1 would be beginners, 6 would be collegiate. We do mostly those pieces you just heard, and we're going to do one more short piece for you, are all at the grade 5 level of curriculum. The Symphonic Winds, which are our less experienced players, will do grade 4 music, but those younger players will get an opportunity to play principal parts, to play solo parts, and the percussionists will get a chance to learn a lot of the different percussion instruments. So it really meets a lot of their needs. The Wind Ensemble, which does grade 6 or collegiate level music, did I have you stand? Okay, thank you. Didn't want to, slight anyone. Is an opportunity for our more advanced players to study literally some of the finest music ever written for wind band, and a variety of it. In addition to that, some of our wind, brass, and percussion players play once or twice a week with the string orchestra to form a symphony orchestra. Could you stand if you do that? So these students get an opportunity to play orchestral repertoire with, thank you, with our outstanding string orchestra. And it's a great opportunity for the string orchestra to play in a full orchestra setting. And they play numerous masterworks. In addition to that, we have 2 jazz bands. If you play in one of our 2 jazz bands, would you stand up? Thank you. The jazz bands are scheduled during the school day, only not a full credit every day like band, just 3 times in the 7-day cycle, which would be a half 0.5 credit. But students who are in band, choir, or orchestra may elect, if they want to play in one of those 2 jazz bands. And this gives us a chance to have graduated bands, and we think we have, well, we know we have one of the premier high school jazz programs in the country. And I say that with all humility, but it's true. And we're extremely proud of it. And we're glad that so many of our kids here get a chance to learn about improvisation. It opens up a whole other side of their musical creativity that's different from this that they're doing right here. We also have 2 jazz choirs, and students from the band can sing and elect one of the jazz choirs, the same model I just described. Is anyone here in the jazz choir? Just stand up. There you go. And a number of kids from the orchestra in the jazz choir as well. In addition to that, we have some after-school chamber groups. We have a clarinet choir. Stand up if you play in our clarinet choir. We have a flute choir. Stand up if you play in our flute choir. All of our percussionists play in a percussion ensemble with Mr. Albro. After school on Thursdays, they study some of the finest percussion ensemble repertoire. This kind of chamber music playing is really important. It develops the skill set that you hear when we combine. If you think we get a mature sound, and I think we do, it's because of the training that the students are getting, not only now, but every year. We have an extensive private lesson program after school here. 20 private teachers work here. How many of you stand up if you take private lessons on your instrument? Yeah. It's usually 100%. Thank you. These students didn't necessarily do that in the middle school, though. So if you don't take private lessons, I wouldn't go, oh, my goodness, I can't do this. Normally, when they make the decision to play in the high school band, they understand that developing their own individual skills with a private teacher kind of goes along hand in hand with this, and so, as you can see, they're doing it. We have some fantastic musician educators who teach here. If you come here after school, because of those 20 private teachers, this wing of the building is very much like a little conservatory with music happening in all kinds of ways. And I think it's actually quite special. How many of you have been involved in summer music camps at all? Stand up if you've done any of those. Many of them were involved in the SIMC camp at Ahern School, which I know many of you have been involved in, but some have gone to other camps in the region here as they get older in high school. Thank you. How many of you teach younger students, do private teaching on your own? Stand up if you do that. Yeah, we do encourage our outstanding players to work with younger students and give back. And so some of you may even have had this experience. But this kind of one-on-one opportunity for young students, I mean 5, 6, 7, and 8, to, thank you, to interact with older students who are not only good players, but also really mature people. I think it's win-win, and I'm proud of that. Some of the students play more than one instrument for various reasons. How many of you play more than one instrument? Stand up if you do that. Now, that may have been something they did all along, or it may be something they started doing in high school. They play saxophone and guitar, or flute and saxophone, or something like that. So thank you. But we certainly would encourage that. It's not required, but we encourage it. Our students also go on to audition for various regional festivals. How many of you have been at some point in your career in the Southeast District Music Festival? Stand up. There's about 80 towns in the Southeast District. So these students via audition have been selected for one of those festivals. And how many of you have been selected for All-State at any point in time? Stand up. So that being said, this might surprise you. Well, how many of you are planning to go to college after high school? That probably doesn't surprise you. Okay, thank you. How many of you intend to major in music? And that sometimes surprises people. You figure, well, they're serious about it in high school. They probably want to major in music in college. But this is not vocational training. This is aesthetic education as part of a comprehensive high school. Just like all the kids study chemistry here, that doesn't mean they're going to major in chemistry. We want all students, as many as possible, to study music at a high level, but not so they can become professional musicians, so they can become more educated people. So I think this is a really good public high school. I like to also say that because I travel around the country judging and guest conducting. I've been doing it for a lot of years. I've been in hundreds and hundreds of high schools in many, many, many states and spent a lot of time working in those schools, helping band programs and things like that. And I can tell you, I still come back thinking, wow, this is a really nice high school. It's beautiful to look at outside, and the quality of education the kids get in this high school is first rate. So I sometimes... I do sometimes, living in town, hear a negative comment or two about public schools. It's kind of an easy thing to bash from outside. As one who's been inside the school system for 35 years now, I'm going to say publicly, it's a great school system, and this high school is a terrific high school. And the music program that we offer within this high school is definitely a terrific program, and I know that on a national standard of comparison. So I'm proud of it. It's not my work alone. The staff that I introduced you to, and all of our staff, these private teachers, the parent support group, there is so much that has gone in, and great administrative support, the school committee and superintendent support, principal support over the years, to allow us to be able to do what we're doing here. So I'm full of good news when it comes to that, and I hope you feel the same way. And I hope you come to Foxboro High School optimistically that you're going to get a great education here, and hopefully music will be part of it. Okay, so that's the music geek part of their life. We're going to play one more piece, our last piece, and then I'll briefly, before we play together, I'll briefly talk about what else do they do? Because they must do something other than music. And of course they do. And they do those things well. These are high achieving students. So I want you to meet that side of them too. But we're going to play a short piece called Chorale and Alleluia, written by an American composer, Howard Hanson. In the 50s, this was written. And this just is a beautiful piece of music and shows the sonority that's possible in the wind band and percussion that I think is part of what we're trying to help our students understand, how we can produce beauty with these wind and brass and percussion instruments. So this is Howard Hanson's Chorale and Alleluia. If that Winterfest concert Thursday night appeals to you, hopefully it will appeal to you. The idea of hearing the two separate groups from within this group. Kara, who I'll introduce you to later, our band president, has 3 tickets for anybody who wants them. Just ask her. They have guest passes and they show all, not only Thursday night's concert, but all the other concerts throughout the spring. And you and your parents can have these. And hopefully you'll come and check out as many of the performances as you can. I think if you do that, you'll start to get a vision for what's going on here in music, how cool it is, and how you might become a part of it. Hopefully that might happen to you. Kara's the lady with the free tickets. So just before I bring up the 8th graders for the combined band, I did mention, what about the rest of their lives? How many of you are generally enrolled in honors or AP classes? Stand up. Thank you. Yeah, we don't have to keep applauding for them. I know you're proud of them, and I am too. In fact, I'll tell you candidly, these are some of the finest people, not students, people that I've ever known. This is like quality, class. But it'll be a long night if we applaud for everything they do. We'll applaud maybe at the end. How many of you have been selected? This would be juniors, I think, or mostly seniors at this point, for the National Honor Society. Okay. How many of you work some kind of job, part-time job, throughout the school year or summer? Okay. How many of you are involved in your church in some kind of just normal activities or maybe some sort of special youth activities? Yeah, be proud of your church. That's cool. Okay. How many of you, do we have any Boy Scouts here? There they are. And we have any Eagles? Okay, how about that? Dan's an Eagle Scout recently. That we should probably applaud for. How many of you are involved in student government here at Foxboro High School? Student council or class officers or any of the other student government capacities? Great. How many of you are involved in clubs or activities within the school? Some kind, wow. So that could be the math club, the debate club. What others have I left out? Model UN. A cappella choir. High school advocates. So these are students with a lot of interest. Thank you. Is anyone here involved in theater or drama productions? Yeah? Okay, cool. And how many of you are involved in any kind of clubs or activities outside of Foxboro High School that we didn't just stand up for? Yeah. Athletics, which is always a big one. How many of you have been involved in athletics or sports here at Foxboro High School? Right. The myth that has been shared with me for 35 years here by people who don't know anything is that if you play in the band, well, you can't possibly be on a sports team. And the season that seems to scare people the most, of course, is the fall season, because we're doing marching band and there are a lot of fall sports. How many of you have been on, keep standing if you've been on a fall sports team? So that means last fall, these people were, while they were in the marching band, playing on a sports team at the same time. Now, is it challenging? Well, sure. Can it be done? Of course. And if we were to bring in the choir and orchestra students, there would be a comparable number. So if you can help me get rid of that myth, it would really please me. It's simply not true. And we advocate for our students who want to be student athletes because I think it's important for them to do that if they want to do it. Okay, thanks. Yeah, I think I've pretty much covered everything that I wanted to cover. We'll have a reception that Carol will tell you about after we play these two pieces together in the band room and the orchestra room across there. And you'll have an opportunity, parents and students, to talk and interact with all of these students and the faculty. And so if you do have any questions, more detailed questions about the things that I just discussed, we're happy to talk with you about them tonight or going forward anytime you want to. We want to, I told your 8th grade students in the warm-up room that we want them to make good decisions about everything they do, and in choosing their courses for high school, we want them to make good decisions. We honestly do. So we want to make sure they've thought through the issues and thought through what's going to be best for them and what might work for them. And I mentioned I don't want to do band because my friend Alice isn't doing band is not a good decision. But there might be a good reason to not do it, as long as it's a well-thought-out adult decision. It's It's a lot to ask 13 and 14-year-olds to do. So parents, I'm sure, are going to help them with those decisions. Because in case of music, students who don't continue playing music into high school, in most cases, never play music again the rest of their life. I have 45 years of teaching to anecdotally know this, and that is a scary thought, that they will literally not participate in making music for the rest of their life based on a decision they make when they're 13. Let's make sure we make good decisions. That's all I'm saying. All right, we want you to come up and join us now, so please do. One other, while they're setting up, thought, parents. We know, but maybe you hadn't thought about this, that this auditorium acoustically is one of the premier high school auditoriums in New England, including a lot of college auditoriums. And we feel very fortunate to be able to make music in here. It's because of all that wood, mostly, which they tend to not put in more modern schools to save money. They use cinder block and throw a piece of something over it. So as you're listening, you might also realize that the students have an opportunity through their high school career to make music in this beautiful auditorium, which many recording engineers who've been here over the years to record many of our groups have shared with me that they love recording here because they think it's one of the most beautiful sounding auditoriums literally in New England. Just one other thing we're lucky to have here. We're going to play Tribal Drums, which is a piece the 8th grade band has been working on, and we're going to play it with them. Okay, so before their last piece, which Mr. Albro conduct, I'd like you to meet our president, Cara Doherty, Sr.
Hi, I'm Cara. I'm an oboist. I was a drum major in the fall, and I'm now the president of the band. Just in support of what Mr. Massey was saying earlier, I did a lot of stuff, and I'm still doing a lot of stuff. I played 3 seasons of sports for 3 years. I'm still in student council. I joined a cappella this year. I'm a part of the National Honor Society and the French National Honor Society. I coached a 1st grade soccer team with Madison for a couple years, and hopefully again this year. I referee soccer games on the weekends, and I still have friends, so. Just a bit about when I first came into the music program. I was a little iffy as an 8th grader. I had done choir and band, so I was kind of unsure which one I was going to do, and then I chose band. But as soon as I entered the music program, I was completely welcomed by everyone there. I instantly made friends with a lot of people in my own grade that I hadn't previously been close friends with, but also a lot of upperclassmen, and they became huge role models for me in the years as I grew throughout the music program. And it was an environment that was like very welcoming for me, because I was on sports teams as well, and there was just like a bond between the lower classmen and upperclassmen in band that didn't really exist even on sports teams. And music became like a huge part of my life, and like so big actually that now I'm majoring in music. So I think it's a really good option to consider if you love music and you just want to be part of such a great culture in high school. So. After this concert, we have a lovely reception over here through these doors. In the orchestra room, we'd like to invite the woodwinds and their parents to convene just to initially discuss if you have any questions for any of the woodwind players, especially if your child is considering band or is iffy about it. And then in the band room, we'd like percussion and brass players. Oh, and woodwinds include saxophone players as well. Just so if you have any questions initially for the people who play the same instrument as your child. And we have food and stuff too, so yeah. And then after that, you can mingle throughout the rooms just to say hi to everyone. Thank you so much for coming. And I have the guest passes, so if you want to come to a concert, just see me.
Okay, Mr. Albro, I don't know where he is, but he's here. Oh, there he is, okay. So you all know the work Mr. Albro does at the middle school, but we know, all of us in the high school, we know the work, especially behind-the-scenes work that he does to make a lot of special things happen here. Percussion in particular, but some people lose sight of the fact, because he's dealing with percussion all the time, that he's also, by any measure, a first-class conductor of all the instruments. So, welcome, Mr. Albro. So we'll let the students move off and put their instruments away. If you can give us just 2 or 3 minutes, I think we'll have a little less confusion. And then please join us.